The year 2021 marks 300 years since Greenland was colonized by Denmark. Now, Greenlandic activists are calling to leave the Danish kingdom to become a sovereign state. But why did Denmark colonize the Arctic island in the first place? And how would Greenland get independence given that it is financially dependent on Denmark? My name is Sam Greenberg, and this is The Outside Perspective. Let's find out. So, Denmark has a long history of colonization. Between the 13th and 20th centuries, they had colonies in Europe, Asia, and North America, many of which were rather profitable and lasted for over a century. Greenland was colonized in 1721, when the Danish-Norwegian missionary Hans I led an expedition to Greenland in order to Christianize the Inuit living there. Greenland's first push for more autonomy came shortly after the Second World War. In the time that Denmark was occupied by Nazi Germany, Greenland's economic and social ties were weakened with Denmark. This led to a stream of political and social changes over the coming years. In 1953, a new Danish constitution was signed, which changed Greenland's status from being a colonial possession of Denmark to being a Danish province in the Danish kingdom. In 1979, Greenland was granted home rule, and in 2009, Greenland enacted their Self-Government Act, which gave them a much higher level of autonomy. It sounds like the next logical step would be Greenland's total independence from Denmark, right? I mean, they've been building up to it for so long. But maybe not, because Greenland has some financial ties to Denmark that they might not be ready to cut. Since 2009, because of the Self-Government Act, Greenland has had the power to declare independence anytime they want if it is approved by a referendum among the Greenlandic people. However, they do have a strong incentive not to do so. Denmark sends Greenland an annual block grant of 3.9 billion Danish kroner, or approximately 585 million US dollars. This equals 2/3 of their government budget and 1/4 of their GDP. This block grant is one of the reasons that Greenland is listed as a high-income country. Without it, a lot of their public services, the basic things like school and public transportation and their hospital, would likely go underfunded. But of course, the Greenlanders know this. A 2016 poll showed that 64% of Greenlanders wanted full independence. However, a 2017 poll showed that 78% of Greenlanders did not want independence if it meant a fall in living standards. So it seems that Greenland, with its economy based almost exclusively on fishing, will have to stay in the Danish kingdom due to financial restraints. Unless, of course, their economy is about to go boom. Due to climate change, melting ice is giving way to uncovered land. This comes with its fair share of problems, but it also opens up more land for mining expeditions. And this is something that could give Greenland some of the economic diversity that it needs. So Greenland and China have been collaborating on possible mining projects since 2005. But in 2012, when the Chinese Minister for Land and Resources visited Greenland, the pace really picked up. In 2013, Greenland repealed a law banning the mining of radioactive and rare earth materials. In 2014, Australian-based company Greenland Minerals signed a memorandum of understanding with a Chinese mining company. The two companies stated that they will create a fully integrated global rare earth supply chain. As of now, they have a promising mine in Kvinefjeld. Kvinefjeld has massive deposits of rare earth materials and uranium as well. Maybe you can guess why Trump wanted to buy it. Chinese involvement in Greenland has also come with a fair share of controversy. In Denmark, there have been fears that Chinese investments come with hidden political and military agendas. Denmark is still responsible for national defense in Greenland, so this directly affects them as well, and they have gotten involved before. When a Chinese state firm put in a bid to build airports in Greenland, Denmark secured half the financing of the airports. The interpretation in Denmark and Greenland was that this was done to keep China out. In a way, this undermined the Self-Government Act, and a lot of Greenlanders were not very happy about this. Yet Greenlanders themselves are pretty split when it comes to Chinese involvement in Greenland, especially with the mine in Kvinefjeld. A lot of them want to see the mine open because it might bring the economic independence that they need to get independence from Denmark. But a lot of Greenlanders think that the mine is far too damaging to the environment and might actually harm the economy because if it gets in the way of fishing and tourism because of all the pollution, then, maybe it actually isn't better in the end. This whole economic, political, social battle is also playing out under the backdrop of the upcoming Greenlandic election, which really puts a lot of pressure on Greenlandic politicians. so we find out where they stand. Will they put the environment in jeopardy for independence, or will they stay tied to Denmark? I guess we will find out. There are still more plans for China to make very significant investments in Greenland, but all future mining and oil drilling prospects likely depend on whether or not Kvinefjeld turns out to be a success. Although it is too soon to tell the actual effect of the mines, either economic or environmental, the mines do have the potential to be huge for the Greenlandic economy and perhaps make the difference between staying in or leaving the Danish kingdom. The situation between Denmark and Greenland is complicated. Denmark has done a lot for Greenland in recent years economically and has raised the Greenlandic standard of living. However, you could also argue that Denmark has, in a way, held Greenland back because they've gotten involved in matters that wouldn't really concern them if Greenland had never been their colony in the first place. Colonization is oppressive in nature, and Greenland has been dealing with forms of this oppression for 3 centuries. Anti-colonial activism is strong there. As seen by the vandalization of the Hans Eyde statue in Nuuk last summer, you can see that there is a clear insistence among many Greenlanders for independence. Greenland isn't technically a colony anymore. It's labeled as an autonomous Danish territory. However, they're not totally independent. The roots of oppression go deep, and many Greenlanders want to cut them off completely. And it could be that the solution is buried deep in the land. Thank you for watching. This has been The Outside Perspective. Did you know Donald Trump was actually the second U.S. president to try and purchase Greenland? Harry Truman did the same in 1946 during the Cold War.